If you have not seen The Batman, it is, in my humble opinion, one of the better Batman movies. Now, it's when you compare anything to something that is heralded as the greatest, right? People really love the Dark Knight trilogy, and it is a great trilogy. And I think we struggle sometimes with understanding something being good and enjoyable doesn't mean that the thing that came before it wasn't good, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's better than the thing that came before it. The Batman was a good movie. Initially, I did not think Robert Pattinson was going to do a good job, but I think he did a good job of portraying Bruce Wayne, the tortured soul after what happened to his parents. And I know we've seen this over and over again, but look, I love Batman. And I think the movie did a good job of capturing the detective element of Batman, in my humble opinion, again, better than any of the other Batman movies. People might, as a matter of fact, let me retract that. People will disagree with that. This is why it's called an opinion. My opinion is not fact. This is just how I feel about this movie. So I think Robert Pattinson did a good job. The Batman, to me, was a very, very good movie. So I saw this article on Bounding into Comics. Rumor: David Zaslav suggests James Gunn make Robert Pattinson the main DCU Batman. I think this is a good idea. And I will tell you why I think this is a good idea. I think there's a problem with having a fragmented DC cinematic universe. And I think having that fragmented universe with all of these disconnected movies is kind of jarring for the uninitiated. You have to remember, when these companies make movies, they're not just making these movies only for those of us who read the comic books and follow the comic books. They're also making these movies for the uninitiated who know nothing about these characters in depth. And so you have to figure out a way to make that enjoyable. Now, here's where the problem comes in. If you have a fragmented universe, if everything is fragmented and spread across all of these different movies and none of it's connected, I can easily see how someone could get lost watching these movies and thinking to themselves, okay, what matters and what doesn't? I don't even know where to start. What movie do I start in? Can I watch this one and not watch that one? What does all of this mean? Which movies are not connected? There's a lot of fragmentation. I would imagine if I'm, again, uninitiated, I don't know anything about comic books, I'm not paying attention to the comic book entertainment space, and I see a Batman movie with one person and Batman depicted as somebody else in another movie, I'm probably going to be confused, and that's going to be like, wait, what? Why was this done? What's going on? May seem like a small thing, but I think that could create a big problem of creating a movie that multiple people and different diverse crowds can enjoy. Now, when I say diverse, I mean people who read comic books and are invested, and people who are uninitiated. They're just going to see an enjoyable movie, but they've noticed, hey, there's two different Batmans. Like, what? I don't understand. I don't get it. So let's see what this article has to say. A Batman has not been selected yet for the brave and the bold, which is begging the question, what's the holdup? The answer could be timing or delays brought on by the recent writer and actor strikes, but there may be more going on behind the scenes, and it always appears that there are more. As revealed at the founding, or rather rebranding, of DC Studios, although James Gunn may have a vision and freedom to carry out as he sees fit, he reports to David Zaslav, the Warner Bros. Discovery CEO, has input then, and he most definitely has an opinion. Um, as such, according to Insider, Jeff Snyder is his in his newsletter. Zaslav is recommending, if not demanding, that Gunn incorporate Robert Pattinson into the DCU as its official Dark Knight. Snyder asked, "Where does Robert Pattinson's Batman factor into this? And if he doesn't, then why the heck not?" Of course, he said something else. I'm not gonna repeat that. Anyway, you get it. They want to know what's going on. And look, I think this is a legitimate question, like I said, that people who are uninitiated might ask themselves, like, okay, why is Robert Pattinson's Batman not in this movie? Now, they may not understand all the nuances of the timeline of Robert Pattinson's Batman. He's supposed to be like year one, year two Batman. He just started out. He doesn't even have all of his gadgets. He's still figuring stuff out. So I understand why, as a director, being in charge of all of this stuff, why you wouldn't necessarily want that character involved. The bottom line is you are handed the sandwich you are handed. DC is trying to pick up the pieces after not really having a successful go at the DC cinematic universe. So you got to make this work. And I believe having Robert Pattinson as the Batman and not splintering this thing into multiple Batmans will work. Now, here's what I believe they could do. They could have Robert Pattinson as Batman, use CGI or whatever they need to use, and just have him as an older character if time has passed from the Batman versus the Brave and the Bold. Just, like I said, show him older if he has to be much older. Explain that this is years later or, however many years after the Batman movie. That can easily be done. I don't think that's a problem. And I think that's a better solution than transitioning to some other Batman. And I'll tell you what else would be dope. And this is all just my opinion for those who are going to disagree in the comments. I know it's coming. I think it would show the dynamic range of Robert Pattinson as an actor. Now, I didn't know how good he was as an actor. I only know of him from, what's that movie? I'm drawing a blank now. Was it the Twilight series? So when he was first cast as Batman, I just wasn't feeling it. My youngest son recommended me look at some clips from different movies he's played in. And I have to admit, this guy's dynamic acting range is actually very broad, and I did not know that. I did not realize it. And when I saw clips from these different movies, I thought, oh, wait a minute. This may in fact work, and I believe it did. I thought it wouldn't, and I was wrong. It worked. I enjoyed the Batman from beginning to end. I think this needs to happen. As a fan, I'm saying I agree with this. Don't fragment this thing. Just have him be the Batman. You can make that happen. The Batman is still the most successful DC release of the last 2 years, and the Penguin's ratings prove the ongoing crime saga is popular and viable. And I'll be honest with you. I believe, now look, from what I hear, the Penguin is a great series. I just downloaded the first 3 episodes they got. Haven't watched them yet. I plan on watching them, Lord willing. But I think it's on the back of the Batman being such a good movie. That's literally what I think. That's why I think this is went over so well. Matt Reeves more than earns his keep, not to mention his seat at the table. The axing of 2 of his shows aside, those of you who have been reading our coverage long enough might recall this was the rumored lineup for all the new creative direction at DC in Hollywood about 5 years ago. Gunn and Reeves were going to take over with a big hand from J.J. Abrams. Obviously, one of those pieces didn't fit the puzzle and was left out, despite whatever progress exists for a Superman movie he is producing with Ta-Nehisi Coates. I don't know why I said it that way. Whether it happens or not, Gunn is in charge of the Man of Steel now, and Zaslav wants to ditch the multiverse principle. Yo, the multiverse can be a problem in comic book cinematic universes if it's not done right. In cartoons and in the comic book cartoons, you can do it because not that you have an unlimited budget, but there's so much more you can do in a cartoon that would cost an astronomical amount more to do it in live action. So I'm not mad at him saying, yo, abandon this multiverse thing. Much like in comic books, sometimes the multiverse is used as like the fix all. Like, oh, we have a problem with timelines and story and continuity, multiverse. Yo, sometimes I'm gonna be honest with you, that gets annoying. I just don't want to see that all the time. Okay, the latter stated there won't be multiple variants of Batman, and it's safe to assume that will go for all the heroes before long. This could entail Battinson, as he's being called, being the first hero of the DCU or that he will be brought into the fold somehow, someday, through some chicanery. It was rumored some time ago this would happen. Oddly enough, so he could be in the next Justice League. I think that's the right way to go. I think if you fragment this too much and try to have too many different Batmans, I've already said this, but I just really think that that'd be a big problem. Everything is changing by the minute over in Burbank, but all the scoops and reports claim DC, WBD are still are still constant on one thing. They want to compete with Marvel, apparently pooling resources to simplify their continuity is the strategy they feel is best. And yo, strike while the iron is hot. Marvel has a hot movie with Deadpool. Now, whether they will capitalize on that hot movie in Deadpool or not remains to be seen. They may, but as of right now, they don't have the best track record. So if DC was gonna make this move, man, I'm telling you, this is the time to do it. However, they may be forgetting that they have been here before, and meddling too much made a mess, which didn't help the fortunes of either Batman or Superman on the big screen. I think one of DC's biggest blunders, and again, this is my humble opinion, is what they did not do with Man of Steel. Look, Henry Cavill's Man of Steel was a great, in my opinion. Of course, Christopher Reeves is a legend, but Man of Steel was a great Superman movie. Some might argue the greatest or one of the greatest. I would happen and tend to agree with that. I went into that movie not knowing what I was going to get. And boy, oh boy, was I surprised in a good way. DC, I know you're probably not listening to me. I have a small channel, but yo, make this a thing. Look, keep Robert Pattinson on. Flush out that timeline and that story. I really enjoyed the Batman, as did many other fans and moviegoers.